Follow my bets. All right, hour number two. In about a half hour, we'll talk to Lance Lynn, but let's kick things off with some Phillies talk. The great voice of the Philadelphia Phillies. You can follow him at TMac Phils. Tom McCarthy joining us, having some fun this year, watching a star-studded lineup hit its stride right now. Tom, we appreciate the time. Great to have you. Are you in that? What's that room? Are you in that broadcast room? I can always tell by the
walls.
No.
It's like their office they have there.
I'm actually in my office, which I haven't been in like 2 weeks, and I'm just looking around thinking, man, it's a mess. In fact, I'm wearing the same shirt I was wearing yesterday on the air because I had a shirt on that had a huge stain right in the middle of it. So I'm a little formal right now, I feel, compared to you guys.
How do you have a stain? You're not eating anything right now. You're down 50 pounds and you're still rolling. So how do you have a stain?
I was putting a new mailbox in this morning, and it's like 100 degrees here, and I don't know what I got. I got something on it while I was putting the mailbox in.
Dude, you're rich. Hire somebody to do that. You don't need to be doing that manual labor stuff.
I don't know. I was bored. AJ. I guess I got to keep myself busy.
You were bored, so you're like, I'm going to go put a mailbox in? Like, most people are bored. I'm going to go take a walk.
We got a note from in our mailbox from our mail lady saying that it was tilted and she couldn't put the mail in it anymore. So I had a to-do list today, so I had to get it done.
You got the leveler out to make sure that thing was straight.
I did actually. I did.
Nice.
It's so stupid. I should have hired somebody because it's not going to last for the winter, honestly.
Super versatile though. All right, so let's get into the Phils. I actually want to start with our buddy Ken Rosenthal wrote this morning about Bryce Harper's journey to first base and how it's gone, it seems like, better than expected pretty quickly for the Phillies and could be the long-term position for him, maybe to preserve that body for the rest of the contract, which is still like 6-7 years left?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes there eventually. I don't think it'll be next year, but I do think that that's their plan is to maybe put him there at some point. He looks great. I mean, his throws have been fantastic. And I think footwork is kind of still a little wonky at times, but man, he puts the work in. He's there every single day trying to do it. He's made some really good plays. He's made some really good picks. But I do think that's the plan. I originally thought that it would be to the back end of JT's deal that he would go there, but JT's not showing anywhere at all behind the plate. So it wouldn't surprise me that that's where he winds up going. And, he can do it. I don't think it's going to be next year, though. I think it's probably going to be down the road. But I do believe by the time we're at the end of his contract, he's going to be playing first base.
Can Harper play every day in the playoffs at first base? Because he's been kind of a 2-3 games and then he needs some days off. Can he do it every day in the playoffs?
I think by then he can, Kratzy. I really do. I mean, his issue's been he had this mid-back spasms thing that was bothered him. So that's the reason they gave him some time off. But I think he could do it. I mean, they're managing it now, but I think that what they're going to do is just manage it now and then throw him out there. So it wouldn't shock me that he's there every single day. It just makes them better defensively if they have, whether it be Martian left or Cave in left or Pache in left, and let Schwarber DH. I just think that makes more sense for them, particularly in tight games. Listen, Schwarber's probably going to be out there from time to time, and he's working to try to get to every ball he can. But I do think there's a chance he's out there almost every day at first base during the postseason.
Well, the more important question is he going to have a playoff beard? Because he just shaved his beard.
I don't know.
So is he going to grow it back for the playoffs like they do in hockey?
I got to tell you, AJ, I think he can grow it back in like a week. I mean, he's not like he's not like me. Right? I mean, it goes
you
fast.
And Kratz? You and Kratz are follically challenged?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Put me in that conversation, too.
It's kind of by choice now. I mean, it's but yeah, I think if he starts hitting, he's not going to grow it back. But if it's not where he wants it to be, I mean, he's going to grow it back, and it's going to be back quick. I mean, it's he's like one of those guys I think that wakes up at 10 and says I can't shave until like noon because it'll be stubble by the end of the night.
I think the fresh face should help with the back spasm as well. It's not as much weight.
A little lighter
around. Little lighter up top.
I don't know, man.
So
Ever since I lost my hair, my back's been really bad. So I don't know if that's really.
Well, I don't know if that's the issue. I think it's once you get a little older, things start hurting a little bit more.
Yeah. You guys will find that out. I'm telling you, you're gonna find that out.
One more thing on Bryce for you, Tom. How does he look at the plate aside from the little slump that he just went through, which was 0 for 20?
Well,
in the second half of the season, better, right?
Yeah, he's got 12 homers since the All-Star break. I mean, his last homestand, I mean, it was unbelievable what he was doing. I mean, he does feed off of the pressure. He feeds off the crowds. Honestly, what he did on the road trip where he was hitless in 19 at-bats, I didn't see it coming because his swing was so locked in when he was at home. So, I think he's fine. I mean, he hit a couple balls hard in San Diego. He only had the one double that obviously produced the 2 runs yesterday. Pulling off a little bit. A couple really wonky lefties. The Cosgrove guy was weird. I mean, Tim Hill's kind of weird when he comes to the plate. So I think that threw him off a little bit. But I think he's fine. I really do. I mean, there's no pain, obviously. He's just he was just in one of those funks, like he said yesterday.
Is there any correlation to Bryce moving off the grass into the dirt at first base and his back hurting? Because that would seem like a lot of times you hear things, the guys that go from the grass to the dirt. It takes a select few of us that can play on the dirt every day.
That's exactly right. It's funny, AJ. I don't know. I mean, I think it was just not using it for a while. I mean, he was DH all last year. He didn't play the outfield except for the first month of the season. I just think it's getting legs in shape, body in shape. I mean, he's in great shape, but I think that, there could be some correlation to it. They didn't play him in Toronto at first base because they didn't want him to go on the sponge at all, on the turf. So, I mean, it could be. I mean, it could, but I think it's also just getting legs into it a little bit more.
I want to ask about Trea. I mean, obviously we know how good of a player he is. We all figured he would turn things around. For me, from the outside looking in, that ovation he got in Philly was so cool. You don't really see that a whole lot with a superstar player. I feel like most of the time, if you're not performing, you're going to get the boos as opposed to the cheers. I'm sure that made him feel comfortable and better about his situation. And since then, man, he's been on fire and the player that we all thought he would be.
Yeah, I mean, he thinks it's sort of coincidental publicly, but I do think privately that there's an acknowledgement that night when he stepped to the plate, it did relax him a little bit. I think it relaxed everybody, quite frankly. They did it last year with Bohm. You guys remember when Bohm said, "I hate this bleeping place." Then all of a sudden he got a standing ovation instead of being booed, and it kind of helped him a little bit. I mean, this game, obviously I've been watching it from a distance for these last 30 years and haven't played it, but you guys played it. There's a lot between the ears that dictates success and failure in this game, and I do think it relaxed him. He's hitting 360 since then. He's got this 15-game hitting streak going. The bat's flat through the zone again, not striking out as much. It was a really cool moment. I honestly didn't know what to expect. I did expect it would be loud, but the fact that it got louder as the night went on that first day, it was pretty cool. I have to admit, it was pretty cool. In any city, something like that would have been really neat to see.
Trea was doing really well, but then he came on foul territory, and he had 7 home runs in 7 days. So I'm not saying you're going to hit a dinger.
Is that it?
That was it. So I'm just saying.
He's
Put him in the lineup.
Call of his life tonight, Tom. You're going to have the call of your life.
Yeah. Listen, the mailbox went in pretty good, so maybe that was kind of foreshadowing.
Wait, Tom, who do you have tonight as your partner?
Actually, we're off today. I had to think about it for a second. We're off today. Crux this weekend. I'm doing Friday's game, and then I got to do a football game on Sunday on CBS, so I'll miss Saturday and Sunday. So, Kruk this weekend, and then Schmitty on Sunday. And James Lofton and AJ Feely are my partners this weekend for the NFL.
What, did Ruben get fired?
No, he had to go out and buy some new suits because, he can't be – he's not as colorful on the Phillies broadcast as he is on the MLB network with the green suit and the
I'll let him know.
One night where he wore the pink shirt.
I'll let him know.
Yeah.
Have you ever? I honestly want to. Have you ever told Kruk when he's just going on one of his things, keep going, or John, you got to stop? Or you just always let him go?
I never tell him to stop because if I tell him to stop, it's going to get worse. AJ, you just got to.
Oh, please do that. Be like Krucky, stop! You got to stop, and then just turn your mic off and be like, you got the next 3 innings.
Somebody said to me last week, they said, there's certain times you should really reel him in. You know what he's going to say. I said, I don't know what he's going to say. I have no idea what he's going to say. There are times where I'm hearing the story for the first time on the air with everybody else, and I'm as intrigued about what kind of goat is eating what kind of soda can in the back of his farm in West Virginia as everybody else is.
He's a gem. All right, so for you, you saw this team make it to the World Series last year. To me, this team looks just as good as, if not better, this year. So do you agree? And what should the Phillies be concerned about come playoff time?
Well, I think the concern is probably after the consistency of Zach Wheeler. There hasn't been the consistency of really anybody else for the whole year. Now, Taijuan Walker's been good. He's got 15 wins. He's getting a lot of run support, so that could dictate success. I think the key is Aaron Nola, quite honestly, guys. I mean, he's got to, he's had some really good outings. He's had some clunkers. But if he can get himself back to where he was during the postseason last year and where he's been for most of his career at the Phillies, 1-2 is pretty darn good. I mean, obviously, there's the Brewers have a really good 1-2-3 punch, but I think you can line up. And then you have a choice at 3. You could either do Walker, you could put Ranger Suarez in that spot if he's healthy, or you could put Suarez and Lorenzen in the bullpen where they've thrived at times in their careers. So I think the key is going to be Nola, and then you can kind of feel your way through the number 3 and even the 4 spot.
What are the chances the Phillies re-sign Nola or Rhys Hoskins?
I think a better chance to sign Aaron than Rhys. I mean, I would love Rhys to be back. He's one of my favorite players next to you, Kratzy, that ever has worn a Phillies uniform. He does so much in the community. But I do think we just talked about Bryce sliding over to first base. I do think that they have guys that they can put at first and maybe money spent in other spots, but they miss him. They really do. They miss his stability in number 2 spot, and they also miss because what he gets. You guys know how hard it is to find 30 home runs. I mean, I don't care what team it is, but I think it's more probable they would sign Nola than Rhys, unless Rhys is a 1-year incentive deal. But I think somebody is going to give him what he's naturally worth in the open market, even with the knee injury.
How fun has it been to cover Dave Dombrowski since he's come over here? I mean, he is a gunslinger, right? He's aggressive in a front office role where I feel like a lot of the dudes nowadays are way too careful and too calculated on every single little thing. Everything is a spreadsheet. And I feel like Dave just has the blend going on for a long time and should continue to get that respect where, hey, like the Phillies were spending money before he came over here. They went through the whole building process and barely got anything out of it. And then Dave comes over and he's like, cool, here, World Series team pretty quickly. So got to give him credit there where most guys, around the league are like, oh, we're doing this 5-year process, 7-year plan. Like, screw that.
Yeah, I think that there's a combination to it. Honestly, Scott, I think it's the combination of Dave and Rob Thompson because they do have the new school stuff to it, the analytics part of it, which you have to have some kind of a base of that. But they're also, what are my eyes telling me? What is my feel? What do I think we need? He's been great. I mean, he's been stabilizing. And I think you couple that with the way Rob has handled the dugout and the clubhouse. It's been a really good formula for the Phillies. There's no doubt about it. And, they haven't depleted the farm system to get everything that they have. They've made some trades, but they have been very tactful when it comes to the farm system. But listen, he's a Hall of Famer. At some point when he's done as an executive, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He'll join the likes of Pat Gillick, who obviously, led the Phils to the 2008 World Series championship. And it's going to be nice to have that moniker. He's fortunate too. We got an owner that wants to spend money in John Middleton, and that's a good thing too. And, it's smart money, but it's spending money and making sure this team is competitive.
I wanted to hit on that a little bit. You brought up John Middleton. You've worked there before when David Montgomery was just an unbelievable owner, unbelievable rep for the Phillies, unbelievable person. How is this ownership? Because we absolutely rip on this show on John Fisher, John Angelos, Artie Moreno, guys who want to be too into it.
Yeah.
And I think in the Phillies, both Montgomery and seeing John Middleton, they're into it. But talk about what a positive environment that they produce for you as an employee, but also for a team in ownership.
Yeah, thanks, Kratzy, for asking that question. I mean, it's always been that way. It's a family. And the carryover from David, who was wonderful, to John and the Buck family just has been fantastic. John is involved. I mean, he's a really good businessman. He made a lot of money in the tobacco industry and the hotel industry. But this is his love. I mean, he's there every single day. And he's out in the stands every single day. Guys, he goes to the 300, 400 level, talks with fans, gives out Bedlam at the Bank bracelets to fans, like wants to know what they like, what kind of food they like, what kind of atmosphere they like, what do they want to see differently. For us, it's tremendous. I mean, it's, this is the kind of people you want to work for on a daily basis. And, they're unbelievable. I mean, he's involved, but he's involved behind the scenes to make sure that this team is competitive. I mean, he wants that, as he said, he's been saying it for 10 years. He goes, I want that bleeping trophy back from 2008,
Hey, Tom, were you at Alumni Weekend?
I was.
I mean, the Phillies sunk this low that they have Eric Kratz back for Alumni Weekend as one of the headliners. I mean, I'm trying to figure this one out. Like, I look at his resume, and it's like, all right, there's some at-bats in there, a few homers, but, man, I'm like, is this what the Phillies – I mean, was Jimmy Rollins unavailable? I'm like –
he was. He was
Victorino.
Unavailable. Yeah, they needed somebody that could run out to the line, honestly, because there were a lot of older fellas out there that, so they needed somebody other than Larry Boa.
Kratz has been known to trip before. Exactly. Kratz has been known to trip going out there to the line.
You're a TikTok guy, but
we have seen that video from time to time. Yes. It's not that we don't have it stored, but we do have it stored and at the ready at any time.
Beautiful.
I mean, Odubel Herrera wasn't available?
Yeah, he's playing for the Kansas City Monarchs of the American Association.
Oh, all right.
Is he playing against Tommy?
Yeah, he did play against Tommy. Costi managed to get – that's Costi's mask behind me right there, by the way.
That's your favorite player. That's your favorite player.
Well, no, you're my favorite player, Kratzy, just because you're with me right now. But I do like that mask. I mean, AJ, did you ever wear that mask, that kind of mask?
No, I was tougher than that.
Wow. You're so sweet. You're so sweet. Well,
hey, it's a good ornament to have.
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah, it looks good. It's cool.
Yeah, they look cool.
Yeah.
I did wear it in the Fall League, Arizona, when they first came out. And I wore it in a game, and I took a foul ball, and the mask went, and I'm like, damn, it's like pinball in there. I'm like, I ain't wearing that. Should be the thing that goes flying when it hits me.
I was in Toronto the first day that Charlie O'Brien unveiled it years ago. I don't know. I was there as a statistician for CBS Radio. And there was, you should have seen the crowd around him when they unveiled it, when he was like the first guy to wear one. And it was, it was kind of it was painted like a hockey goalie. Now it's sort of conservative how everybody has their masks.
Well, so when I was with the Twins coming up I wore it in the Fall League, and one of the scouts came out or whatever, when our coach, whoever it was, and he says, if you wear that, and Rick Stelmazik, who was our bullpen coach, and Tom Kelly, if they see you in that, you'll never make it to the major league. So take it off. It's too showy.
Oh my God, thing off. Hysterical.
I mean, that's how old school when I came up. Like, we weren't allowed to wear sunglasses.
No style.
Only flip downs.
Yeah.
You know why? Because TK had those brown glasses that he had to wear all the time, and he couldn't put anything on them to make them sunglasses. He was my counselor. He was my camp counselor in high school. I went to this camp. It was the top 50 prospects in the state of New Jersey, and he was my coach at that particular camp. And he said, "Hey, listen, I'm not going to be here next weekend because I got to go back to Minnesota for some kind of an interview for something." And that's when he was named the manager of the Twins.
Wow.
Jeez. Then he had to deal with AJ.
Yeah.
Then he had to deal with AJ.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. Well, you made it through.
Tom, we'll get you over to Fox one day. Don't worry.
He's a CBS man through.
That's
Tom,
right.
Awesome to have you on, man. Appreciate it. And enjoy the rest of the ride here with the Phils.
All right, boys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Great to talk to you. Tom McCarthy. You can follow him at TMAC Phils.